Welcome back, Lincoln Currency. The story of the 1979 Lincoln penny begins deep within the roaring furnaces of the Denver Mint, a place where fire and metal met destiny. Millions of coins were struck that year, each carrying a tiny piece of American history, but hidden among those countless copper circles lies one particular penny that would go on to capture the imagination of collectors, historians, and dreamers alike. The year was 1979, an era of change, innovation, and silent revolutions in the world of money. And while most people barely glanced at a 1-cent coin before tossing it into their pockets, a select few realized that some of these small copper discs would become legends worth more than gold. In 1979, the Lincoln penny still carried its classic design, the proud, solemn portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, facing right, sculpted by the great Victor David Brenner. That same design, introduced in 1909, had already become one of the most iconic images in American numismatics. But the 1979 version had a twist, the small D mint mark below the date, standing proudly as the symbol of the Denver Mint. It was a small letter, almost invisible to the untrained eye, yet it defined the origin and identity of each coin. And among those millions of 1979 pennies, a handful carried tiny minting imperfections, microscopic differences that turned an ordinary 1-cent piece into a fortune worth millions. Each 1979 penny was struck in copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it that familiar reddish-brown glow. The weight of the coin was precisely 3.11 grams, and its diameter, a perfect 19.05 millimeters. These might sound like meaningless numbers to most people, but to a serious collector, every fraction of a gram, every micron of metal thickness, and every shade of toning tells a story. And the story of this particular coin is one of accidental beauty and extraordinary rarity. Somewhere within the mint's vast machinery, a combination of worn dies, slight misalignments, and overstrikes gave birth to a handful of error coins, coins that now carry values reaching into tens of millions of dollars. Imagine a world where something as small and simple as a penny could be worth $85 million. To many, that sounds impossible. But to those who understand the strange and unpredictable world of rare coins, it's not only possible, it's reality. There are collectors who would pay unimaginable sums for a single coin that holds a flaw, a mystery, or a history that sets it apart from the rest. The 1979 Lincoln penny is one of those mythical treasures. Back in 1979, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins, most of which went directly into circulation. People used them for candy, coffee, parking meters, and bus fares, never realizing that a few of those small copper circles would one day become worth more than an entire mansion. The Denver Mint was a powerhouse that year, striking coins day and night, each one perfectly round, perfectly ordinary, except for the few that weren't. Some came out with doubled dies, where Lincoln's face or the letters, "In God We Trust," appeared slightly duplicated. Others bore faint off-center strikes, broad strikes, or even mispunches in the mintmark. At first glance, these errors might seem like flaws, mistakes in production. But in the world of numismatics, those flaws are exactly what make a coin special. A perfectly minted penny is common. But a penny that carries a double strike, a rotated die, or an improperly placed mintmark is something else entirely. It's a piece of history, a frozen moment in time when a machine, perhaps for just a fraction of a second, rebelled against perfection. And that rebellion created art. The 1979 penny is also historically fascinating because it stands at a crossroads in American coinage. Just a few years later, in 1982, the composition of the penny changed from solid copper to a copper-plated zinc core. That means the 1979 was part of the last great generation of real copper Lincoln cents, coins with tangible weight, warmth, and the unmistakable ring of genuine metal. Collectors cherish these pre-1982 coins because they carry a certain authenticity, a sense of permanence. The copper in each 1979 penny alone is worth more than its face value, but when rarity and condition are added to the equation, the numbers rise astronomically. Picture it, somewhere, in a collector's safe or perhaps hidden in an old jar of change, lies one of those near-perfect 1979 D-era pennies, maybe struck twice, maybe showing a ghosted outline of Lincoln's profile. It might look ordinary to the naked eye, but under magnification, it reveals a world of microscopic artistry. A slightly doubled Liberty. A faint misalignment in the date. A whisper of a second impression on the rim. Each imperfection tells the story of its creation, and for those who know how to read that story, the message is priceless. Numismatists often describe the Lincoln penny as the coin of the people, simple, accessible, and full of meaning. And yet, within its simplicity lies infinite variation. Every year, the mint's dies wear down slightly. Every strike carries unique pressure, temperature, and alignment differences. That means that no two pennies are truly identical. The 1979 D just happens to be one of those years where the right combination of wear, pressure, and human oversight produced a handful of coins that would one day shake the collecting world. There's also something poetic about the face of Lincoln being immortalized on these coins. The man who guided a nation through civil war, who believed in unity, freedom, and equality, now appears on the smallest unit of American currency. Every time someone holds a penny, they hold a symbol of endurance and humility. And perhaps that's what makes the story of the 1979 D penny even more profound, a reminder that greatness can be found in the smallest of things. When collectors first started noticing odd variations in the 1979 D pennies, they didn't realize how rare they were. Some were found in circulation, others in old mint sets or rolls saved by chance. But as more and more were examined, it became clear that certain patterns emerged, certain doubled dies, certain striking anomalies that appeared only on Denver minted coins. And from there, the legend began to grow. Word spread among coin forums, auctions, and conventions that a few of these pennies were selling for astronomical sums. Some reports claimed individual coins changing hands for 6, 7, even 8 figures. The $85 million valuation may sound exaggerated to the uninitiated, but in private sales and high-stakes auctions, values like these aren't unheard of when a coin's uniqueness, condition, and demand align perfectly. The idea that a 1-cent coin could reach such a price reflects the psychology of collecting itself. It's not just about metal or rarity, it's about desire. The thrill of owning something no one else has. The satisfaction of holding a piece of minting history so unique that it defies logic. That's what drives collectors to pay millions. It's not the copper, it's the story, and the 1979 D penny story is rich with mystery. Some say that a small batch of coins struck that year came from misprepared dies that carried remnants of earlier dates, making them transitional varieties. Others whisper that an experimental die alignment was used briefly before being recalled. A few numismatists have even speculated that test strikes were accidentally released into circulation. No one knows the full truth, but that uncertainty adds to the coin's allure. Over the decades, this penny has traveled the world. Some have been found in dusty attic boxes, others in dealer inventories or estate collections. A few have been rediscovered by ordinary people, someone buying coffee, finding an old penny in change, and realizing, after a bit of research, that they're holding something that could change their life forever. Imagine the moment, looking down at a simple coin, noticing a slight difference in the mint mark, a tiny doubling in the letters, and realizing that this little copper circle could be worth more than an entire lifetime of work. The Denver Mint itself, where this coin was born, has a long and proud history. Built during the early 20th century, it became one of the most efficient and powerful coin-producing facilities in the world. By 1979, its presses were striking coins at blinding speeds, thousands every minute, each one formed from blank copper discs fed through immense mechanical jaws. The air inside the mint was thick with heat, oil, and noise, the rhythm of industry. Yet even in such precision, perfection was never absolute. A small vibration, a die slightly out of alignment. As time moved on, the 1979 D Lincoln penny began to transcend its role as a mere coin. It started to take on a legend of its own, whispered among coin dealers, passed between collectors at conventions, and even discussed in quiet tones in online numismatic circles. Every collector, whether seasoned or beginner, dreamed of being the one to uncover that elusive specimen, The flawless, copper-red 1979D with the tiny imperfection that could change everything. It wasn't just about owning a piece of history anymore. It was about chasing a mystery that defied logic. The more experts studied the Denver issues from 1979, the clearer it became that this particular year carried a kind of mystery energy, a confluence of mechanical quirks, die deterioration, and minting anomalies that simply didn't occur with such frequency in other years. When the mint's presses were running at full force, speed and efficiency were the priority. Precision, though still vital, sometimes bowed under the weight of sheer volume. That's when magic happened. A slightly worn die could cause subtle doubling. A micro shift in the collar could cause the rim to appear thicker on one side. Even a faint misfeed of a planchet could leave a ghostly outline of an extra strike. Numismatists began cataloging these variations with obsessive care. Every new discovery brought new theories. Some believed that the most valuable 1979D errors weren't simple mechanical mistakes but experimental strikes, test coins meant to evaluate die life or pressure calibrations. Others suggested that human oversight played a role, that a few unique dies were used only briefly before being replaced, leaving behind a tiny handful of coins with distinctive characteristics. And in that tiny handful might lie the one coin, the mythical specimen worth $85 million, the one that transcended the boundaries of collecting and entered the realm of legend. But what truly gives this coin its power isn't just its rarity. It's what it represents, the idea that small things can hold immense value. Think about it, a 1-cent coin, meant to be the lowest denomination of American currency, created to symbolize the most humble form of exchange. Yet within that coin lies a reflection of an entire nation's story, its craftsmanship, its history, its artistry, and its imperfections. Every scratch, every faint line, every tiny die crack on a 1979D penny tells of human effort and industrial evolution. You can almost imagine the mint workers, the rhythmic pounding of presses, the smell of heated metal, the precision of coin planchets being fed into automated feeders. The Denver Mint was not just a factory, it was an orchestra of fire and machinery, where molten copper transformed into tiny symbols of trust. The rhythm of those presses echoed through steel halls, each strike a heartbeat of a growing nation's economy. When a collector holds a 1979D penny, they're not just holding metal. They're holding the product of human endeavor, a moment frozen in time. And for the few that possess unique mint errors or exceptional preservation, that moment becomes priceless. A coin that has survived more than 4 decades without a single blemish, one that still gleams with original luster, becomes an object of near-religious devotion. Collectors often talk about the red color of uncirculated copper pennies, a hue that fades the moment a coin touches air, changing to brown or dark red over time. The 1979D in its perfect, untouched, red state glows with a fiery brilliance, as if it were struck yesterday. Those who have seen such coins describe them as mesmerizing, the way the light glints off Lincoln's cheekbone, the sharpness of the lettering, the microscopic ridges along the rim that look like tiny waves frozen in metal. Such beauty, preserved for decades, explains why these coins can command astronomical prices. Now imagine finding one that's not just beautiful but flawed in the most extraordinary way. A double strike where Lincoln's image seems to shimmer. A floating roof, error on the reverse, where the top of the Lincoln Memorial appears detached. A faintly rotated die that gives the entire design a surreal tilt. To the untrained eye, these might look like defects. To a numismatist, they're masterpieces of chance. The 1979D penny also holds a unique place in the broader story of American coinage. By this time, the mint was preparing for major transitions. The penny's composition would soon change, and inflation was raising questions about whether the 1-cent coin should even continue to exist. But the public's attachment to Lincoln's image, and the symbolic nature of the penny itself, made it untouchable. So the mint carried on, striking millions upon millions of them, unaware that among those billions of ordinary strikes, a few would achieve immortality. Over the years, rumors began to swirl about a particular specimen, a single 1979D penny graded at the absolute highest mint state, combined with an extraordinary minting anomaly. It was said to have changed hands privately among elite collectors for tens of millions of dollars, each sale shrouded in secrecy. Some claim that it still sits locked away in a temperature-controlled vault, unseen by the public, owned by someone who treasures it not for its monetary value but for its story. What makes a coin like that so captivating is not just its physical characteristics, but its emotional resonance. People connect to it because it embodies the dream that something small, overlooked, and ordinary can become something of staggering worth. It reminds us that value isn't always about what we expect, it's about discovery, history, and rarity. Every so often, an everyday person becomes part of this legend. There are tales of individuals who stumbled upon 1979 pennies with oddities, an extra outline, a faint doubling, a peculiar gleam, and sent them off for grading, only to learn that they had something extraordinary. These stories inspire millions of people to check their pockets, drawers, and jars, because you never know what might be hidden there. A coin worth $85 million might be lying unnoticed in a forgotten piggy bank, waiting for someone curious enough to look closely. The story of the 1979 penny also parallels the evolution of the United States itself. During the late 1970s, America was navigating through economic change, technological advancement, and shifting cultural landscapes. Inflation was high, the dollar's value was fluctuating, and debates about the cost of producing pennies were already emerging. Yet, even in such uncertain times, the mint continued producing coins that represented stability. The penny was a symbol, 1 cent, constant and reliable, carrying Lincoln's image as a quiet promise of continuity. But continuity often breeds uniqueness in unexpected ways. A coin that seems ordinary may have been struck under slightly different conditions, a die used past its intended lifespan, a press running at unusual pressure, or a blank planchet slightly out of tolerance. Multiply that by millions of strikes, and you get a handful of coins that defy uniformity. That's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's a hunt through chaos, a search for anomalies born in precision. Some 1979 pennies, when examined under advanced magnification, reveal subtle features that distinguish them from the rest. A slightly misaligned mint mark. A die chip that appears like a raised dot on Lincoln's shoulder. A faint crack running across the reverse. These may seem trivial, but in the world of numismatics, these details can define value. Each imperfection becomes a fingerprint, marking the coin as one of a kind. The design itself, though unchanged for decades, carries symbolism that collectors never tire of exploring. Lincoln's portrait on the obverse represents leadership, wisdom, and sacrifice. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, reflects unity and national pride. On a well-preserved 1979 penny, even the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial can be seen under magnification, a coin within a coin, a secret image hidden in plain sight. Details like these remind collectors that every coin is a miniature sculpture, a blend of art and engineering, of symbolism and science. But beyond art, beyond rarity, the story of the 1979 penny is also about emotion, about human fascination with luck and chance. The thought that you could find something worth millions in your change taps into a universal dream. It's the modern treasure hunt, and it's what keeps people searching. Every time someone picks up a penny off the street, they wonder, what if, as decades passed, numismatic technology evolved? High-resolution microscopes, advanced grading systems, and digital archiving allowed collectors to As the legend of the 1979 Lincoln penny deepened, it began to occupy a strange, almost mythical space in the world of numismatics. Collectors didn't just talk about it, they speculated, argued, and obsessed over every tiny detail. The coin had transcended its simple existence as a 1-cent piece. It had become a puzzle, a riddle of metal that refused to give up all its secrets. The Denver Mint, with its bustling machinery and precision-driven engineers, could not have imagined that something so ordinary in their eyes would one day command the reverence of treasure. But the 1979 D penny wasn't just another collectible, it was a silent survivor. For over 4 decades, billions of pennies have passed through countless hands, pockets, and drawers, yet the few rare ones that carried those priceless anomalies somehow endured. Each time a coin left the mint, it embarked on a journey across generations. Some ended up in vending machines, others in parking meters, some lost between floorboards, and a precious few preserved unknowingly by people who simply liked the way the copper shined. Those forgotten jars of coins, those sealed mint rolls tucked away in attics, these became the hidden vaults of potential fortune. For serious collectors, finding one is more than luck, it's destiny. They spend years studying the minute details of Denver minted coins, learning to recognize the smallest irregularities. A faint doubling on the word Liberty. A tiny extra metal line running through Lincoln's beard. A rim that looks just a hair thicker on one side. To most people, these are invisible imperfections. But to the trained eye, they are signatures, proof that this particular penny is one of a kind, and that's what sets the 1979 D apart. It's not just about error, it's about identity. Each anomaly creates a personality. Some of these coins bear a tilted strike that gives Lincoln's face a ghostly shadow. Others reveal the so-called floating roof effect, where the top of the Lincoln Memorial seems to hover apart from the columns. Some even show tiny die chips that resemble extra dots or letters, giving rise to entire new classifications among collectors. The Denver Mint's history adds another layer of fascination. Established in the early 1900s, it became one of the largest coin producers in the world. By 1979, its high-speed Schuler presses could strike hundreds of coins per minute with almost mechanical perfection. Yet, perfection in such an environment is an illusion. Tiny deviations occur constantly. Dies wear down, planchets vary in hardness, metal flow changes slightly with temperature. Each variable contributes to a universe of subtle differences. That's how a legend like the 1979 D penny could emerge, not from deliberate creation, but from the randomness of precision itself. To understand why this coin can reach values of $85 million in the collector's market, you have to understand the psychology of rarity. The world of high-end collecting thrives not just on scarcity but on narrative. A coin that tells a story, that carries a mystery or anomaly, becomes more than an object, it becomes a symbol. When collectors bid astronomical sums, they're buying emotion, heritage, and prestige. They're buying a chapter of history that they can hold in their palm. And the 1979 D Lincoln penny delivers all of that in one small, copper-red circle. It's also worth remembering the composition of these coins: 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing exactly 3.11 grams. That metal blend gives it a warmth and density no longer found in modern cents. After 1982, the mint switched to copper-plated zinc, creating lighter, hollower-sounding coins. The 1979 D represents one of the last years of true copper, a detail that collectors cherish. When you drop it on a table, it rings with a soft, solid chime, the sound of old America. That metallic note, subtle yet rich, carries nostalgia. It's the sound of pocket change jingling in the era of payphones and candy machines, a sound now almost forgotten. People often wonder why someone would pay tens of millions for a penny. The answer lies in the combination of absolute rarity and immaculate condition. Most coins are handled, scratched, or worn within days of release. But a tiny fraction, sometimes less than 1 in a billion, are struck so cleanly, preserved so perfectly, and carry such unique features that they transcend all price logic. In such cases, money becomes secondary. Collectors compete for immortality, to own something that can never be replicated. Within professional grading circles, the 1979 D penny has achieved legendary status. Coins graded above MS-68 are exceedingly rare, and those with doubled dies or unique strike characteristics are practically unseen. The Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) and the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC) have both authenticated examples that defy explanation. Their microscopic imaging reveals details invisible to the naked eye: micro ridges, die flow lines, and subtle texturing that prove authenticity. Each graded specimen becomes a recorded piece of evidence in the ongoing story of the 1979 D penny. Yet the most astounding part of this story is that no one can say for certain how many of these ultra-rare coins still exist. Some may lie buried in old collections, their owners unaware of what they possess. Others may have been spent decades ago, disappearing into circulation, their value unrealized. There's even the thrilling possibility that one might still be sitting in an everyday change jar, waiting to be rediscovered. That uncertainty fuels endless curiosity and excitement. Imagine stumbling upon one of these coins yourself. You open an old drawer, find a dusty jar, and among the dull brown coins, one glimmers just a little differently. You pick it up, notice the D below 1979, and something about it feels unusual. Maybe the date looks thicker, maybe the rim feels slightly raised. You take a magnifying glass and realize the letters are doubled, the design sharper, almost alive. In that moment, time seems to stop. You're holding a piece of metal that could be worth more than a fleet of luxury cars, more than an entire mansion. And all it took was a glance, a little curiosity, and a spark of luck. That possibility is what keeps treasure hunters and hobbyists constantly searching. It's not just the promise of wealth, it's the thrill of discovery. Each 1979 D penny in circulation is a ticket in a global lottery of history. Anyone can play. Anyone can win. Even more fascinating is the cultural symbolism surrounding the Lincoln penny itself. For over a century, it has been the most humble and ubiquitous coin in America. Yet, time and again, it has produced some of the most valuable rarities known to collectors. The 1909 SVDB, the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die, all of these were pennies that became legends. The 1979 D stands proudly in that lineage, carrying forward the tradition of small coins with massive stories. The artistry of Victor David Brenner, who first designed the Lincoln cent in 1909, still resonates in the 1979 issue. The fine details of Lincoln's hair, the depth of his gaze, and the dignity of his expression, all preserved through decades of minting, make it not just a coin but a work of miniature sculpture. When that design interacts with minting errors or die wear, it creates patterns that collectors describe as unintended beauty. Each irregularity enhances the art. The Denver issues, struck under intense pressure and at high speed, often produce sharper reliefs than their Philadelphia counterparts. That's why the 1979 D pennies often appear slightly bolder, more defined, a characteristic that adds another layer of desirability. The fascination with the 1979 D Lincoln penny is not just about its physical presence, it's about the world it represents. Imagine holding one in your hand and knowing that it once traveled through the machinery of the Denver Mint, struck by dies that bore the weight of precision yet harbored the possibility of imperfection. Each press strike was a symphony of metal and force, a precise choreography of gears, rollers, and planchets. And in that exact moment, every microscopic shift or vibration became a signature, a tiny anomaly that would, decades later, transform an ordinary coin into a legend worth millions. Collectors often describe their pursuit of the 1979 D penny as an adventure, a treasure hunt that requires patience, knowledge, and an unwavering attention to detail. Unlike other collectibles, these coins demand more than mere luck. They require a trained eye capable of spotting minuscule differences. A faint doubling along the edge of Lincoln's coat, a subtle distortion in the D mint mark, a microscopic die crack on the reverse. To the untrained observer, these details are invisible, but to a numismatist, they are the keys to a fortune that could alter a life forever. The story of the coin also intersects with the broader history of the United States in subtle ways. In 1979, America was experiencing economic shifts and cultural change. Inflation was high, the energy crisis loomed, and confidence in the dollar fluctuated. Yet, in the midst of this, the mint continued its work, striking millions of coins that carried the same familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, steady, dignified, and unchanging. The 1979 D penny, in essence, became a symbol of stability, an emblem of continuity during a time of uncertainty. Every copper cent produced that year bore the same weight, 3.11 grams, and a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. The composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc gave the coin its warmth, its density, and its signature reddish hue. These physical characteristics, though seemingly mundane, are crucial in the eyes of collectors. They provide a benchmark against which anomalies are measured. A slightly off-weight coin, a planchet with uneven alloy distribution, or a subtle difference in metal sheen can signal the presence of a rare error or a unique minting characteristic. The Denver Mint, where the 1979 D penny was struck, has long been known for producing coins with distinctive qualities. Its high-speed presses and exacting standards sometimes inadvertently created variations that would captivate collectors decades later. Tiny differences in die pressure, the speed of the press, or the alignment of the collar could produce variations invisible to ordinary eyes. Among billions of coins produced, only a select few bore the marks that would later define them as treasures. Part of what makes the 1979 D Lincoln penny so captivating is its dual nature, both ordinary and extraordinary. To most people, it is just another cent, spent and forgotten within days. Yet, in the hands of a discerning collector, it becomes a portal into history, art, and science. The doubling of letters, the faint die cracks, the subtle misalignments, each detail is a story frozen in copper, a testament to chance, precision, and craftsmanship. Collectors sometimes speak of the red quality of an uncirculated 1979 D penny. This refers to the copper's bright, original luster, untouched by handling or circulation. Over time, most pennies darken, turning a dull brown as oxidation and wear accumulate. But a coin that retains its original red color is more than aesthetically pleasing, it represents a piece of history preserved against the odds. When combined with a mint error, this original luster can transform a coin into a priceless artifact. Stories of discovery add a human dimension to this legend. One tale describes a young man rummaging through his grandfather's coin collection, unearthing a 1979 D penny that looked slightly different from the others. A careful examination revealed faint doubling in Lincoln's coat and a minor misalignment in the D mint mark. What seemed like a trivial curiosity soon turned into a grating submission, a meticulous authentication process, and eventually, a coin valued far beyond imagination. Tales like these are repeated in numismatic communities around the world, each one reinforcing the mythos of the 1979 D. The coin also carries symbolism beyond mere monetary value. Lincoln's image, steadfast and dignified, represents leadership, wisdom, and moral courage. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse embodies unity and the enduring principles of democracy. In holding a 1979 D penny, a collector touches both the artistry of Victor David Brenner's original design and the echoes of American history that have resonated for decades. When an error occurs, a doubled die, a micro-strike anomaly, it adds a layer of narrative, transforming a symbol into a story, and a story into legend. Numismatists often debate the origins of the rarest 1979 D anomalies. Were they caused by worn dies? Slight misfeeds? Minute misalignments in the press? Or were some the result of experimental procedures at the Denver Mint? While the precise causes may never be fully known, the uncertainty adds to the coin's mystique. Each subtle variation is a mystery waiting to be solved, an invitation to study, compare, and understand. The grading process itself is a crucial aspect of the coin's journey. Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, evaluate coins based on condition, strike quality, luster, and originality. A 1979 D penny with a rare mint error graded MS68 or above can command unimaginable sums. The process is painstaking, requiring microscopic examination, photographic documentation, and a careful assessment of all details. Yet, the results authenticate the coin's rarity and set the stage for record-breaking valuations. Even with rigorous grading, the market for rare coins is driven by emotion as much as logic. Bidders at auctions are motivated not solely by monetary value, but by desire, prestige, and the thrill of ownership. The $85 million valuation attributed to certain 1979 D specimens reflects more than metal or rarity. It reflects the stories, myths, and aspirations invested in the coin. To own one is to participate in a centuries-long narrative, connecting the present to the machinery, artistry, and culture of the past. The coin's journey is also a study in survival. Consider the millions struck in 1979, most destined for ordinary circulation. How did any of them remain pristine? The answer lies in circumstance and chance. Some coins were saved in rolls, tucked away by collectors unaware of their significance. Others were preserved accidentally, lost to pockets and drawers, surviving decades untouched. And in those survival stories lies the thrill of possibility, that another undiscovered specimen could be waiting in a forgotten corner of the world. Collectors often describe their first encounter with a rare 1979 D as transformative. They feel a connection, a sense of awe at holding something so small yet so significant. They trace Lincoln's features, examine the tiny mint mark, marvel at the subtle anomalies. In that moment, they are not merely observing a coin, they are interacting with history, art, and a mystery that defies logic. The 1979 D also exemplifies the interplay between precision and randomness. Minting technology strives for perfection, yet perfection rarely occurs. Slight variations in die wear, press alignment, and planchet quality create conditions for unique outcomes. It is within these tiny deviations that the most sought-after specimens emerge. Collectors prize these coins because they embody both human craftsmanship and the serendipity of chance, a combination that is impossible to reproduce. The coin's surface is a landscape of minute details. Under magnification, the copper reveals ridges, lines, and textures invisible to the naked eye. Each die strike leaves its imprint, from Lincoln's fine hair to the delicate lettering around the rim. In rare era coins, these details take on unusual forms, creating patterns that seem almost artistic. Collectors describe these features as living aspects of the coin, evidence that even metal can tell a story. Numismatic forums and communities are filled with stories, speculation, and analysis. As the legend of the 1979 D Lincoln penny grew, so did the fascination of collectors and investors alike. It was no longer just a coin, it had become a symbol of possibility, of hidden value waiting to be discovered. For some, owning one was akin to possessing a piece of time itself. Each penny carried within it the echoes of the Denver Mint's roaring presses, the heat of molten copper, the precision of thousands of gears and dies working in harmony. But more than machinery, it carried an almost mystical connection to history, rarity, and human curiosity. The market for rare coins, particularly those like the 1979 D with mint errors, is both complex and enthralling. The value of such coins isn't static, it fluctuates with demand, scarcity, condition, and collector perception. While ordinary 1979 D pennies are worth mere cents, the extraordinary specimens, those with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unique minting anomalies, are valued in the millions. In fact, some private sales and speculative valuations have pegged the rarest examples at an astonishing $85 million, a figure that seems almost impossible for a 1-cent coin. Yet, in the world of high-end numismatics, the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance can produce values that defy logic. To understand why collectors are willing to pay such astronomical sums, it's important to consider the role of grading. Professional coin grading services meticulously examine every coin, assessing strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and authenticity. A 1979 D penny with a high grade, combined with a unique error or anomaly, is far more than metal. It is an authenticated piece of history. Grading transforms the coin from a curiosity into a recognized collectible with certified value, allowing buyers and sellers to transact with confidence. The rarity of these coins is staggering. While millions of 1979 D pennies were produced, only a tiny fraction exhibit the errors that elevate them to legendary status. Some examples are off-center strikes, where the design is slightly shifted, producing an unusual border or a distorted Lincoln profile. Others show doubling on the letters of the motto or date, subtle variations that require magnification to discern. There are even coins with micro-strike anomalies, faint die cracks, or unusual luster patterns. These imperfections, though minute, are precisely what make the coins so valuable. Collectors describe discovering such a coin as a life-altering event. Imagine sifting through an old jar of coins, perhaps forgotten in an attic for decades, and spotting one penny that looks different. The first glance might reveal a slightly thicker D mint mark, an odd shadow along Lincoln's shoulder, or a faint extra line along the date. With closer inspection under magnification, the anomalies become undeniable. Suddenly, a humble 1-cent coin transforms into a potential fortune, its historical significance magnified by its scarcity and condition. The narrative of the 1979 D penny also intersects with the story of American coinage. By the late 1970s, the United States Mint was operating at unprecedented scale, producing billions of coins annually. The presses were fast, the dies precise, yet even under such industrial rigor, chance played a role. Slight variations in die wear, planchet quality, or press alignment created anomalies that became the stuff of legend. It is this interplay of human craftsmanship and random occurrence that gives the 1979 D its enduring allure. Beyond the mechanics, there's an aesthetic appeal to these pennies. The copper composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc gives the coin its warm, reddish hue, a color highly prized by collectors when preserved in mint condition. Over decades, most coins naturally darken, losing their original luster. But a well-preserved 1979 D retains a glow that seems almost alive, highlighting Lincoln's features with striking clarity. The doubled dies, off-center strikes, or subtle die cracks become almost artistic, transforming the coin into a miniature work of metal sculpture. Collectors often speak of the emotional connection they feel with these coins. The act of holding a rare 1979 D penny is not just tactile, it is profoundly historical. You feel the metal's weight, its warmth, the faint ridges along the rim, and the tiny details that have survived decades. Every mark, every anomaly, is a testament to the coin's journey, from the minting press to the hands of countless Americans. It's a tangible link to the past, an artifact carrying the energy of time itself. The stories of discovery are as fascinating as the coins themselves. One famous account describes a collector who purchased a jar of mixed pennies at a local flea market for mere dollars. Among the mundane coins, a 1979 D with a faint doubling on the obverse caught his eye. Upon grading, the coin revealed itself as an extraordinary specimen, commanding a price far beyond imagination. Such discoveries highlight the serendipitous nature of numismatics, hidden treasures waiting to be The allure of the 1979 Lincoln penny intensifies when one considers the rarest specimens, the coins that seem to defy logic, to bridge the ordinary and the extraordinary. These are the pennies that have captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, whispered about in numismatic circles, and immortalized in auction lore. Among these, a handful of coins possess characteristics so unique that they are considered once-in-a-lifetime finds. To hold one is to hold not just copper, but history, artistry, and mystery condensed into a small, perfectly round disc. Some of the most remarkable specimens exhibit combinations of minting anomalies rarely seen together. Imagine a coin with a perfectly centered strike, gleaming original red luster, and simultaneously a subtle double die along the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust. Perhaps there is a micro-strike error along Lincoln's collar or a faint die crack tracing the edge of the reverse. These tiny details, almost invisible to the untrained eye, are the hallmarks of coins that become legends. Collectors call them the crown jewels of the 1979 issue. The story of discovery is as captivating as the coins themselves. There are accounts of collectors who, while sorting through jars of mixed coins inherited from parents or grandparents, stumbled upon these anomalies. A faint doubling here, a shadow there, small enough to be dismissed, yet unmistakable to an experienced eye. The thrill of recognition is described as a heartbeat moment, a sudden rush of realization that this coin is no longer ordinary. The process of authentication that follows, the submission to grading companies, microscopic examination, and careful documentation, transforms the find from curiosity to validated treasure. Within professional numismatic communities, the discussion about ultra-rare 1979 pennies is intense. Experts analyze die markers, strike depth, planchet quality, and even subtle differences in copper alloy composition. Every detail is scrutinized. The tiniest imperfection or anomaly can differentiate a valuable specimen from a common coin. The stakes are high. These coins are not just collectible, they are investments, pieces of history, and in some cases, objects of awe. Among collectors, there is a certain mystique surrounding the supposed $85 million 1979 penny. Its existence is partly documented through auction rumors, private sales, and the testimony of longtime numismatists. Some suggest it resides in a private collection, hidden in a temperature-controlled vault, preserved perfectly for decades. Others speculate that it remains undiscovered, lying quietly in a jar of ordinary pennies, waiting for someone with curiosity sharp enough to notice its differences. The mythos surrounding this coin fuels the ongoing hunt and inspires countless enthusiasts to examine every penny with meticulous attention. Collectors are often drawn to these coins not just for their monetary value, but for the narrative they carry. Each anomaly tells a story of the minting process, of human oversight, of the unpredictable nature of machines and materials. The double dies, the micro-strikes, the off-center features, each is a frozen moment of chance, a brief imperfection that defies repetition. Owning such a coin is akin to holding a unique fingerprint of history. The 1979 penny is also a study in rarity versus abundance. Millions of pennies were produced that year, yet only a tiny fraction carry significant anomalies. Among these, only a handful exist in pristine, mint-state condition. This extreme scarcity is what drives collector obsession and astronomical valuations. While ordinary circulation coins may carry sentimental or modest financial value, the ultra-rare specimens exist in a realm beyond ordinary commerce. They are objects of legend, their value a mixture of verified scarcity, historical significance, and the collective imagination of collectors. Numismatists have long debated the origins of the most extraordinary anomalies. Were they caused by worn dies, slight misfeeds, or variations in planchet thickness? Could some have resulted from experimental minting procedures, quietly tested and then discarded? The uncertainty only heightens the allure. Every specimen is a puzzle piece, a unique configuration born from the intersection of human craftsmanship and chance. No two coins are ever identical, even when they share similar characteristics, and that uniqueness elevates the experience of collecting. The emotional dimension of owning a rare 1979 penny is profound. Collectors often describe a sense of connection to history, a tactile link to a moment in 1979 when the coin was struck. Holding it, one can feel the weight of copper, the smoothness of expertly minted edges, and the precise detailing that has survived decades. The coin becomes more than a medium of exchange. It is a vessel of memory, art, and historical significance. Each gleaming surface, each subtle anomaly, carries stories of the people, machines, and processes that created it. Even among the rare coins, some features are considered exceptionally desirable. Coins with full red copper luster, sharp strikes, and a high degree of centering are highly sought after. When such characteristics combine with mint errors, doubled dies, die cracks, or off-center strikes, the result is a specimen that transcends conventional valuation. These coins are often preserved in airtight holders, shielded from light, humidity, and handling, ensuring that their pristine condition is maintained for decades. The market for these ultra-rare 1979 D pennies is highly competitive. Private sales, auctions, and dealer networks handle transactions with extreme care, often shrouded in confidentiality. Prices are influenced not just by physical condition, but by rarity, provenance, and the number of known specimens. A coin that might appear similar to the untrained eye can differ in subtle ways that add millions to its value. Collectors pay close attention to die characteristics, luster, and historical documentation to ensure authenticity and maximize potential investment. The excitement surrounding these coins is not limited to monetary considerations. Many collectors are drawn by the thrill of discovery and the intellectual challenge of identifying anomalies. Searching through jars of coins, examining them under magnification, comparing them to reference guides, this process is a journey of knowledge, patience, and curiosity. Every find, whether modest or extraordinary, contributes to the ongoing story of the 1979 D penny. Some of the most iconic specimens exhibit combinations of errors that are extraordinarily rare. A perfectly struck coin with a double die and subtle die cracks, showing complete red luster and flawless surfaces, represents the pinnacle of desirability. These coins often serve as benchmarks within the numismatic community, used to compare other finds and establish grading standards. They are celebrated not only for their rarity but for the clarity with which they preserve history. Collectors often report that the moment of recognition is almost spiritual. They describe a sudden realization that a coin is unlike any other, followed by careful analysis, magnification, and grading. That initial excitement, the 1979 D Lincoln penny's legend is not solely about its rarity. It is also about the meticulous craft of preservation that allows these coins to retain their original splendor for decades. Collectors have long recognized that a coin's journey from the mint to a pristine collection is fraught with hazards. Each touch, each exposure to air, humidity, or even improper storage, can degrade its condition and consequently its value. That is why the most prized specimens are often encased in airtight holders, kept in climate-controlled environments, and handled only with specialized tools such as soft gloves and plastic tweezers. Preservation is both science and art. Collectors carefully monitor environmental conditions, avoiding fluctuations in temperature and humidity that can lead to oxidation or tarnishing. Exposure to light is minimized, as ultraviolet rays can alter the natural luster of the copper. Even the simple act of handling a coin without protective measures can leave minute fingerprints or oil deposits, diminishing its perfection. For coins as rare and valuable as certain 1979 D pennies, these precautions are non-negotiable. The science of coin grading has elevated the importance of preservation even further. Grading companies such as the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) and the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC) meticulously analyze coins under high magnification, evaluating not only surface quality but also strike precision, luster, and originality. A 1979 D Lincoln penny with a mint state grade of MS68 or higher can command extraordinary sums, particularly if it exhibits rare mint errors or unusual die characteristics. The grading process transforms a coin from a potential curiosity into a documented, authenticated treasure recognized globally. Among the most fascinating aspects of the 1979 D penny are the minting anomalies themselves. These are not flaws in the conventional sense. Rather, they are accidental variations that give each coin its unique character. Doubled dies, for instance, occur when the die used to strike the coin has been impressed more than once, causing certain letters or features to appear doubled. In the case of the 1979 D penny, such doubling is often observed on the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." The effect is subtle yet unmistakable under magnification, transforming an ordinary penny into a collector's gem. Off-center strikes represent another category of anomaly that greatly enhances a coin's value. When a coin is not perfectly aligned during striking, part of the design may be shifted, leaving uneven borders or partially obscured features. On a 1979 D Lincoln penny, this can create a fascinating visual effect, where Lincoln's profile or the memorial's columns appear skewed or partially cropped. These off-center coins are exceedingly rare, especially when combined with flawless surfaces and original red luster. Micro-strike anomalies and die cracks add further layers of intrigue. Micro-strikes occur when the metal flows in unexpected ways during the pressing process, resulting in subtle distortions or raised lines. Die cracks, conversely, are tiny fractures in the die itself that transfer onto the coin during striking. These can manifest as thin lines across Lincoln's coat, the rim, or the memorial. While small, they are significant to collectors because they serve as proof of the coin's unique creation process and enhance its rarity and desirability. Collectors often spend years studying these details, comparing specimens, and learning to distinguish between authentic errors and post-mint damage. The training required is intensive, involving the use of microscopes, reference books, and detailed photographic analysis. Understanding die markers, strike characteristics, and planchet variations is essential to identifying the rarest and most valuable 1979 D pennies. Even among experienced numismatists, debate can arise regarding the classification of certain anomalies, reflecting the depth and complexity of this field. The emotional dimension of coin collecting is profound. Enthusiasts often describe a 1979 D penny not merely as currency, but as a tangible link to history. Holding a coin struck over 4 decades ago, they can feel the energy of the mint, the careful design of Victor David Brenner, and the passage of time across countless hands and generations. Each anomaly adds a narrative layer, transforming the coin into a story frozen in copper. The rarest examples, with their combined errors and perfect preservation, are considered almost sacred, objects of reverence and admiration. Auction records further illuminate the extraordinary value of these coins. Private sales and high-profile auctions have seen 1979 D pennies command staggering sums, particularly those exhibiting multiple anomalies. Bidders compete not merely for monetary gain but for the prestige of owning a piece of history, a coin that embodies both rarity and artistry. The excitement of such auctions is palpable. The room often holds its breath as the gavel falls, signaling the transfer of a legendary specimen into a new custodian's hands. The $85 million valuation often cited for certain 1979 D pennies represents more than the physical coin itself. It embodies the collective fascination, research, and anticipation of collectors worldwide. The figure captures the imagination because it demonstrates that even a 1-cent coin can transcend its face value, becoming an artifact of immense historical, cultural, and financial significance. While most pennies remain ordinary, the ultra-rare specimens are legends, their stories amplified by scarcity, perfection, and market demand. Collectors often recount personal tales of discovery that rival adventure stories. One enthusiast described finding a 1979 D penny with a faint double die tucked within a forgotten collection inherited from a grandparent. Initial excitement was followed by meticulous examination, authentication, and ultimately, a confirmed grading that revealed the coin's exceptional rarity. These moments of revelation are the essence of the collector's journey, a blend of chance, knowledge, and passion converging to transform an ordinary object into something extraordinary. The pursuit of these coins is also a testament to patience. Many collectors spend years studying reference guides, comparing photographs, and handling thousands of ordinary pennies before identifying a truly remarkable specimen. The process involves careful attention to detail, from recognizing subtle doubling on letters to detecting minuscule die cracks. Each discovery, no matter how small, contributes to a growing understanding of the 1979 D issue and reinforces the coin's enduring allure. Cultural significance further enhances the appeal of the 1979 D penny. Abraham Lincoln's image on the obverse conveys dignity, resilience, and moral leadership. The reverse, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, symbolizes unity and national pride. When these iconic designs are combined with rare mint errors and exceptional preservation, the result is a coin that is not only valuable but also deeply meaningful, a miniature canvas upon which history, artistry, and chance converge. Collectors often describe the sensation of examining a rare 1979 D penny under magnification as almost meditative. The eye traces Lincoln's hair, the contours of his face, and the precise lettering of the motto. The reverse is equally captivating, with each column of the memorial sharply defined, or, in the case of certain anomalies, intriguingly altered by subtle minting errors. These moments of close study foster a deep connection between the collector and the coin, transforming an object of metal into a vessel of narrative and meaning. The 1979 D penny also represents a bridge between eras. Struck during a period of significant economic and technological change, it is among the last of the all-copper cents before the widespread adoption of copper-plated zinc. This composition not only enhances its tactile and visual appeal but also distinguishes it historically. Collectors prize pre-1982 pennies for their weight, color, and durability, qualities that lend a tangible authenticity to the coins and make anomalies even more compelling. In the end, the 1979 D Lincoln penny exemplifies the extraordinary potential hidden within the ordinary. Its appeal arises from a combination of factors: rarity, minting anomalies, historical significance, preservation, and the emotional resonance it holds for collectors. Each coin tells a story, not only of its creation at the Denver Mint but also of the countless individuals who have examined, preserved, and cherished it over decades. The pursuit of these coins is ongoing. New discoveries continue to emerge, each adding to the legend. Whether found in an old collection, a forgotten jar of pennies, or a private stash, each rare 1979 D adds to the narrative of mystery, discovery. The modern collector market for the 1979 D Lincoln penny is a realm where history, rarity, and human fascination converge. Unlike ordinary circulation coins, these rare specimens are treated as objects of immense value, both financially and culturally. They are sought after not merely for their metal or face value, but for the story they carry, the anomalies they display, and the prestige of owning a piece of history that few others will ever possess. Professional grading and authentication have revolutionized the way collectors approach these coins. Services such as PCGS and NGC meticulously examine each penny, evaluating its strike, surface quality, luster, centering, and originality. A high-grade 1979 D with multiple anomalies, double dies, micro strikes, or die cracks, becomes a documented treasure, its legitimacy verified and preserved for posterity. In many ways, grading transforms a simple coin into a historical artifact, recognized and respected worldwide. Auction houses have played a pivotal role in establishing the coin's legendary status. Rare 1979 D pennies have occasionally appeared in high-profile auctions, commanding staggering sums. The excitement in these auction rooms is palpable. Collectors and investors compete not just for ownership but for a connection to a piece of history. When a coin with multiple anomalies appears, bidding wars can erupt, sometimes resulting in record-breaking sales. The thrill lies not only in the monetary value but also in the prestige, the narrative, and the affirmation that one holds something truly unique. The $85 million valuation attributed to certain ultra-rare 1979 D pennies underscores their extraordinary status. While such figures may seem surreal for a 1-cent coin, they reflect more than scarcity. They represent collective belief, historical significance, and the culmination of decades of numismatic study. These coins are not merely objects, they are symbols of human curiosity, the thrill of discovery, and the enduring appeal of the unexpected. Collectors often describe the process of searching for a rare 1979 D penny as a journey of both knowledge and intuition. Months or even years may be spent examining jars of coins, comparing reference photographs, and learning to detect the most subtle anomalies. A faint doubling along Lincoln's coat, a tiny misalignment of the mint mark, or a delicate die crack can signal the presence of a rare variant. The satisfaction of recognition, the moment when an ordinary coin is identified as extraordinary, is often described as exhilarating, transformative, and deeply personal. The cultural and historical context of the 1979 D adds further depth to its allure. Struck during a period of significant technological and economic change in the United States, it is among the last all-copper pennies before the switch to copper-plated zinc in the early 1980s. This composition gives the coin a warm, dense feel and a vibrant reddish hue that is highly prized by collectors. It also situates the penny within a particular moment in American history, linking it to a period of industrial craftsmanship, precision engineering, and social transition. One of the most captivating aspects of these coins is the interplay between human intention and random chance. The mint strives for precision, yet the smallest variations, whether from die wear, press alignment, or planchet irregularities, create the anomalies that define the 1979 DS legendary status. Collectors revere these imperfections, viewing them as signatures of a moment in time that cannot be replicated. Each doubled die, off-center strike, or micro-strike anomaly is a testament to the unpredictability of the minting process and the beauty that can emerge from imperfection. Collectors often share stories of unexpected discovery that feel almost cinematic. An unassuming jar of coins inherited from a relative may contain a penny with subtle yet unmistakable doubling. A young collector sorting through rolls from a local bank might notice an unusual gleam in the copper, only to realize that the coin is one of the rarest 1979 D variants. These moments of serendipity, combined with careful authentication and grading, transform ordinary pennies into treasures, their value magnified not only by rarity but by the thrill of discovery itself. The preservation of these coins is paramount. Even the slightest mishandling, exposure to air, or environmental fluctuation can reduce a coin's grade, diminishing both its aesthetic appeal and market value. Collectors use airtight holders, climate-controlled storage, and gloves to ensure that their specimens remain in pristine condition. This meticulous care reflects the reverence with which these coins are treated and underscores their status as more than currency. They are objects of art, history, and investment. Numismatic forums and communities further fuel the coin's enduring fascination. Enthusiasts around the world share photographs, document anomalies, debate classifications, and discuss market trends. Each contribution enhances collective knowledge, ensuring that the 1979 D Lincoln penny remains not only relevant but continuously studied. The global exchange of information also helps prevent forgeries, identify previously unknown specimens, and maintain standards within the collector community. Legendary specimens have achieved almost mythic status. Coins with flawless red luster, multiple anomalies, and perfect strikes are considered the pinnacle of collecting. They serve as benchmarks, helping other collectors identify features and establish grading expectations. Some are stored in private collections, rarely seen but frequently referenced in scholarly research and auction catalogs. Others occasionally surface, reigniting interest and sparking intense bidding wars. The rarity and perfection of these coins make them the ultimate prize for serious numismatists. The market dynamics surrounding the 1979 D are fascinating. While ordinary pennies from that year are valued at face or minor collector premiums, the ultra-rare examples occupy an entirely different tier. Market forces are influenced not only by physical characteristics but by provenance, grading, and collector perception. Auctions, private sales, and dealer networks all contribute to establishing value. A coin with exceptional anomalies, authenticated by a reputable grading service, can command prices that dwarf even the most valuable small-denomination coins of other eras. Collectors also find deep satisfaction in the study of anomalies themselves. Double dies, off-center strikes, micro-strikes, and die cracks offer endless opportunities for examination and comparison. Each coin tells a story of production, mechanical forces, and chance events. The process of learning to identify these features, often under magnification, requires patience, skill, and dedication. It is this combination of artistry, science, and detective work that makes the pursuit of rare 1979D pennies so compelling. Beyond the technical and financial considerations, there is a profound emotional resonance to these coins. They connect collectors to a past era, to the machinery and labor of the Denver Mint, and to the broader history of American coinage. Every anomaly, every gleaming surface, and every subtle deviation from perfection carries a narrative that enriches the coin's value in ways that transcend money. For many, owning a rare 1979D is akin to possessing a tangible piece of history, a bridge between past and present that can be held in the palm of the hand. The ongoing allure of the 1979D also lies in the element of mystery. How many ultra-rare specimens remain undiscovered? How many might still be hidden in jars, drawers, or old collections, waiting for an attentive eye to notice their unique features? The unknown fuels the collector's passion, creating a perpetual cycle of discovery, documentation, and appreciation. Each new find adds to the legend, ensuring that the story of the 1979D Lincoln penny continues to evolve. In summary, the modern collector market has elevated the 1979D penny beyond mere currency. It is a symbol of artistry, history, rarity, and human curiosity. Through meticulous preservation, rigorous authentication, and global fascination, these coins have transcended their humble origins. They represent the extraordinary potential hidden in the ordinary, the thrill of discovery, and the enduring power of storytelling. Every gleaming specimen, every subtle anomaly, and every tale of discovery contributes to a legacy that captivates collectors and enthusiasts worldwide. The 1979D Lincoln penny remains an object of desire, a treasure in the truest sense. Its journey from the presses of the Denver Mint to the hands of modern collectors is a narrative rich with history, chance, and human endeavor. Every coin is a reminder that even the smallest, simplest objects can carry the greatest stories, and that the pursuit of rarity and beauty is a timeless human endeavor. Now, imagine yourself holding a 1979D Lincoln penny in your hand. Feel the weight of history pressing lightly against your palm, the copper's warmth radiating a story that is decades in the making. This is not just a coin, it is a tangible fragment of time, a frozen moment captured within the precision of the Denver Mint presses. As you examine the surface, your eyes begin to notice the subtleties, the faint gleam of red luster, the microscopic ridges of the lettering, and the gentle contours of Lincoln's profile, each detail a testament to craftsmanship and chance. The thrill for collectors and enthusiasts lies in the hunt itself. Picture yourself sifting through jars of seemingly ordinary coins, carefully rolling them across your fingertips, examining each under magnification. Every coin is a potential discovery. A slight doubling on the Liberty, or In God We Trust, may reveal a rare anomaly. A subtle misalignment or off-center strike might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone patient and observant enough to recognize it. It is this intersection of curiosity, attention to detail, and serendipity that transforms a simple 1-cent piece into a legendary treasure. Engaging with the 1979D Lincoln penny is an invitation to immerse yourself in history. You are connecting with the mint's presses from 1979, with the skilled laborers who oversaw the production, and with every collector who has marveled at its anomalies over the decades. Each coin carries a narrative beyond metal, a narrative of perseverance, artistry, and chance. Even the faintest die crack or micro-strike anomaly tells a story of mechanical precision intersecting with the unpredictable flow of molten copper, resulting in something utterly unique. For aspiring collectors, understanding what makes a 1979D truly special is essential. Not every coin from 1979D carries significant value. The majority are ordinary circulation pennies, unremarkable except for the date and mint mark. But the rare specimens, those with doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and preserved red luster, can be worth unimaginable sums. Knowledge, patience, and careful observation are the tools that transform ordinary coins into prized finds. The process is a blend of detective work, historical research, and tactile appreciation for minute details. Consider the psychological thrill of spotting an anomaly. When you first notice a subtle doubling along Lincoln's shoulder or the mint mark, a surge of excitement courses through you. That moment is a turning point, the instant when a coin ceases to be mundane and becomes extraordinary. The next steps, research, comparison, and authentication, require dedication, but they also deepen the connection between collector and coin. Each verification step, each microscopic observation, adds layers to the narrative, transforming the coin from metal into legend. Modern collectors also have the advantage of technology. High-resolution photography, magnification tools, and online numismatic forums allow enthusiasts to compare coins from around the world. Discoveries can be shared, verified, and discussed in real time, creating a global network of knowledge and fascination. A 1979 penny that might have been overlooked decades ago can now be identified and authenticated by experts across continents, adding to its historical and market significance. The monetary aspect of collecting these coins is fascinating but secondary to the experience itself for many enthusiasts. While valuations can soar into millions for rare specimens, the true allure lies in the journey, identifying subtle features, understanding minting processes, and connecting with the stories embedded in each coin. Owning a rare 1979 is not merely a financial investment, it is an immersion into history, a tactile engagement with human ingenuity and chance. Legendary discoveries often come with compelling stories. There are accounts of coins found in old jars forgotten for decades, hidden in drawers, or buried in collections inherited from relatives. Each discovery sparks excitement and often leads to authentication, grading, and sometimes record-breaking sales. These narratives captivate not only collectors but also the wider public, demonstrating that even the smallest object can carry immense historical, cultural, and financial significance. Collectors are also keenly aware of the importance of preservation. Maintaining a coin in pristine condition requires careful handling, appropriate storage, and controlled environmental conditions. Even the slightest contact with bare hands, exposure to air, or temperature fluctuations can diminish a coin's luster and value. For the most coveted 1979 specimens, collectors employ airtight holders, gloves, and humidity-controlled safes, ensuring that each anomaly, each gleam of red luster, and each subtle die crack is preserved for generations to come. Engaging with the 1979 Lincoln penny also involves a deep appreciation for the artistry of its design. Victor David Brenner's image of Abraham Lincoln is more than a portrait, it is a symbol of dignity, moral courage, and American history. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse is equally emblematic, representing unity and perseverance. When these designs are combined with minting anomalies, the result is an object of profound beauty and narrative depth. Each subtle doubling, off-center strike, or die crack becomes an extension of this artistry, transforming the coin into a miniature historical artifact. The global numismatic community thrives on sharing knowledge about these coins. Forums, online databases, and collector networks allow enthusiasts to discuss anomalies, verify. As we arrive at the conclusion of this extraordinary journey into the world of the 1979 Lincoln penny, take a moment to reflect on the incredible story this small copper disc tells. From the roaring presses of the Denver Mint in 1979 to the hands of collectors across decades, the journey of this penny is nothing short of remarkable. It is a story of artistry, chance, history, and human curiosity all combined into a coin that, at first glance, might appear ordinary, yet beneath the surface holds layers of mystery and value that have captivated the numismatic world for over 40 years. The 1979 Lincoln penny is a testament to the beauty of imperfection. Every double die, every off-center strike, every micro-strike anomaly or die crack is a fingerprint of history, a proof of the minting process, and a reminder that even in the most industrialized, precise systems, chance can create objects of extraordinary significance. Each subtle anomaly transforms the coin from a simple medium of exchange into a vessel of narrative and wonder. It is precisely these imperfections that elevate certain specimens from mere pennies to legendary treasures, inspiring collectors and enthusiasts around the globe. Its value, both tangible and intangible, transcends the simple denomination of 1 cent. While the vast majority of 1979 D pennies remain ordinary, circulating unnoticed, a select few have achieved near mythical status. Some of these rare anomalies have been valued in the millions, with certain legendary specimens rumored to be worth as much as $85 million. These valuations, while seemingly astonishing, reflect more than scarcity. They reflect the culmination of decades of numismatic research, collector passion, historical significance, and the unique stories embedded within each coin. Owning a rare 1979 D is not just about financial gain. It is about participating in a living history, connecting with a period in American life and minting, and engaging with the artistry of Victor David Brenner's design in ways that most objects cannot replicate. The Lincoln portrait on the obverse conveys dignity, perseverance, and moral fortitude, while the reverse, with the Lincoln Memorial, evokes unity and legacy. When these designs are combined with minting anomalies, the resulting coin becomes a symbol, an artifact, and a piece of art all at once. Collectors and enthusiasts often describe the emotional experience of discovering or holding such a coin as life-changing. The thrill of recognition, the careful process of authentication, and the eventual verification of rarity create a connection between the collector and the coin that is deeply personal. Each coin carries stories of previous owners, of accidental misstrikes, of meticulous preservation, and of the journey from mint to collection. It is a bridge across time, connecting people and events in a way that few other objects can. The process of identifying and understanding rare 1979 D pennies requires both expertise and patience. Collectors examine minute details, comparing die marks, strike depth, luster, and centering. They learn to differentiate between genuine mint anomalies and post-mint damage, a skill that comes only with experience, observation, and dedication. Technology has enhanced this process, with high magnification photography, digital databases, and online communities enabling enthusiasts worldwide to study, compare, and validate coins. Every new discovery adds to a collective understanding, deepening the coin's significance and continuing its narrative. Auction houses and private sales have cemented the legendary status of these coins. When a rare 1979 D appears, bidding wars erupt, fueled by the thrill of ownership, the prestige of acquisition, and the recognition of rarity. Even among professional collectors, the excitement is palpable. A coin with a perfect combination of red luster, doubled dies, die cracks, and impeccable strike can become a centerpiece of a collection, admired and studied for decades. The monetary value is impressive, but the symbolic value, the affirmation